with myself and our Assembly Republican Conference. We have, as you see, a wealth of individuals who are very much not only concerned but knowledgeable about the issue we're going to be discussing today. And several speakers, more speakers than I've seen at any press conference. But I have to tell you, if we invited and accepted every individual who wanted to come and speak out on this issue, it'd probably be about 18.5 million people, because this state is reeling right now with the cost of a gallon of gasoline. The irony of this whole thing is we are in I wouldn't say a deep, deep recession, but a middle ground recession taking place right now. And at the federal level, there is a stimulus package coming out in May. The irony of a stimulus package coming out in May, which I think is important to put more money in taxpayers' pockets, is when we get to the middle of May, there's a day in there which is called Tax Freedom Day in New York State. And I think all of you know what Tax Freedom Day is in New York State. That means up until January, February, March, April, May, almost 5 months, all of us in this room, the majority of us, and the people who work in New York State, all of that salary goes for taxes. The first 5 months of the income they make goes for taxes, not the American dream of owning a home, not sending their kids to colleges, not buying that van that they want so they can get the soccer kids to the soccer games. It goes to government and goes to taxes. Right now we have the highest property taxes in New York State, some of the highest income taxes, sales taxes on every commodity you can think of. And just recently, as you've seen, and we're trying to battle that also, a proposed something around $80 million increase in toll taxes on the New York State Thruway. But there doesn't seem to be any more dreaded tax right now that we are getting calls with, concerns with, which are affecting just about every other area of concern I might have talked about in terms of commodities than the cost of a gallon of gasoline. It's out of control. Now, I don't even know what the projection is now in the next couple of months into the middle of the summer. If it's $4, $4.50, or $5, I know it's having a profound impact, not only on our economy, but our constituents. Our proposal today is fairly simple, but I think important. We want to give a summer holiday from the out-of-control gas prices and taxes to the constituents we represent. Is it the long-term answer to this problem? Absolutely not. Is it a short-term piece of relief we think our constituents need this summer, when it seems those are the months that the cost of a gallon of gasoline and those taxes seem to skyrocket and go out of control? The months where individuals want to take vacations, take their kids to camps, visit their loved ones and relatives. And I know there are those who say, well, the best answer is, why don't we just raise it to $10 for a gallon of gasoline? Then everybody's going to conserve. Well, that is truly discriminatory. I'll tell you who's going to conserve. The middle income people who are feeling the squeeze, the lower income people who are going to say, we can't afford it now because it is $10. Those individuals who have the dollars, who have the money, who you might call above the average income and are wealthy, are going to buy those $10 of a gallon of gasoline. Okay, the answer is not to increase the cost. The answer, I think, is to moderate it, to do this in the short term, and to help with a long-term proposal. What's the long-term proposal? We've talked with you about that before, the Alternative Fuel Fund. We don't want to get into that today because we're working on this summer reprieve, this summer holiday. And with that summer holiday, eliminating the state gasoline taxes, you're talking about 30 cents per gallon of gasoline. If we follow our presidential candidate, John McCain, there's another 20 cents on the federal level. That's 50 to 52 to 55 cents per gallon of gasoline. That truly becomes meaningful now when our constituents go out to fill up their tank. I'm not exactly sure, depending upon the size of your tank, but I think you're talking about some real savings during these summer months when a lot of driving takes place. We're hopeful that our colleagues in the New York State Assembly, the majority, will at least take this to the floor and debate it. They didn't debate the congestion issue. They didn't want to bring that to the floor. The leader had the power to hold that up. There are tons of bills which we're not saying have to be passed here in the New York State Assembly. We're saying in a democracy, you bring them to the floor, you discuss them, you debate them. If you oppose them, maybe you bring forth some better ideas. If the Speaker in the majority has some better ideas on how to help their constituents and our constituents, we'd love to see it. In the short term, we agree with Senator Bruno in the Senate. We think this is the best idea in the short term to help our constituents. While the oil companies make inordinate profits, while countries are selling this for $120 a barrel or more right now, why should the state of New York be gouging their constituents also? Because we know as the cost goes up percentage-wise, we bring in more money too. And I'm not saying we need more money, but think about it. Sometimes eliminating a tax brings in more revenues. And I'm sure some of my colleagues can tell you how we may bring in more revenues in these summer months by eliminating these taxes.